really sexy, like our armor, like the F-48 you might have seen before, like Sherman. And yet none of these vehicles, not one of them, would be able to operate for any period of time without vehicles like that. That vehicle could carry everything, and did carry everything from the U.S. mail to food, to ammunition, to fuel, all the things that made an army go. And that's what that vehicle did. And you start to know, as the armored divisions and the Army started to race, once they broke out of the beachhead, they started to speed ahead, and they had to be supplied. So vehicles like that, in long trains, sometimes even called the conveyor belt for vehicles, would race around the clock, front bumper to rear bumper, supplying American troops. And at the very tail end of operations, which we got into before the port of Antwerp was finally opened up, they were actually making a round trip of 600 miles an hour, 600-mile round trip, 350 miles out, 350 back, and just non-stop, and they were overloaded.
Oh, James! Sorry about that. I wanted to get out of the water. Before we go out?
Kind of a cult classic called Tank Girl. This was the tank that was the basis for Tank Girl's, well, her tank, this M5 tank. It was all dolled up with kind of odd things, streamers and hubcaps and a beach chair, and kind of a odd movie, which I've seen bits and pieces of, but this is that tank. So another way a lot of these tanks have continued in life, they have been either constructed for movies or played parts in movies. Every once in a while, a movie producer will come by the Museum of American Armor, and that recently happened, and want to use one of our pieces of armor in a movie. Mr. Spielberg has been all over Long Island in the last couple of months. I'm a Huntington boy. I know he was down in Huntington Village. He was filming at the Paramount. Everybody else is staged here right now, but also the same people from that movie came by. Area. This is a special type of the universal carrier, the last of the breed made here in the United States. It's called the T16. It has a we're talking about hot rod engines. The engine is mid-mounted right here underneath these rifles, and you can carry troops. Universal carrier, the idea is you can carry troops. It's got a Ford flathead engine in it. Rev it up there, sir. Universal carrier, otherwise known as the T16. And one more time around our M5. We're talking about 4-man crew. So where'd that 5th guy go? So you had crew of 5 in your Sherman, you had a driver, co-driver, you had a loader, you had a gunner, and you had a tank commander. There's only a crew of 4 there. Actually, that's probably all you could fit in there. So that the tank commander, the boss of the outfit, he doubled as the loader. So you had a driver, co-driver, you had tank commander slash loader, and you had the gunner who did just that, who laid the gun, aimed the gun, and fired the gun. All right, we're going to get one more lap or two of our M18 Hellcat. This is a very popular vehicle. You don't start off with the track vehicle, the collector. It's probably the vehicle you're going to get. A lot of them were made, well over 100,000 of all types. Relatively simple to maintain. A lot of parts that are around. You can't put it on your boat trailer. Well, you don't really need a super heavy trailer to take it. So very, very common with collectors, the universal carrier. And here comes our swan song here today, our M18 Hellcat. So the Hellcat is all about that gun in the front. Everything else is baggage. Very, very little armor protection on it. It was not designed to slug it out with another tank. It was designed to hunt and kill from ambush, and if it had to get out of Dodge, kill, or it had to move on to another place, it relied on its speed. It was the fastest vehicle in the American armored inventory right up until the M1 Abrams took the field in the 1980s. Actually, it could hit speeds, so we're told, up to 50 miles an hour. M18 Hellcat. Designed for speed. Tank destroyer. Got to get much into the weeds too late in the day, but not truly a tank. Tank destroyer, part of an American concept that was started in World War II and ended in World War II because it was kind of a failed idea. Gun motor carriage. They're technically called a GMC M18. I don't know if you saw before. But when that gun fires, most of our guns are oxygen propane fueled, so big boom, big muzzle blast. That gun we actually fire through the breech. It can fire a black powder round through the breech, big boom, a lot of smoke from the muzzle, and the crew, much like they did in real life, when they fire with an 76 millimeter casing with a small amount of black powder, they toss that right out of the vehicle, much as they would have done there at home. You can see our crew there, the sign at the top. This was a feature of all of our three gun motor carriages, the M10, the M18, and the M36. No roof on the turret. Great for spotting vehicles, shooting at another vehicle, but terrible if you are one of those crew members. You have no overhead protection from mortars, grenades, or anything else coming in from overhead. The M18 Hellcat. Radial engine, aircraft type engine in the back, very light or relatively light, but with a large amount of power. Radial engine too over in our LVT. Early Shermans had radial engines in them as well, but they started to, so many Shermans were being made that radial engines were in great demand for fighter aircraft and bomber aircraft. And the idea then was, well, you can't put a V8 in an airplane, but you can put it let's start powering all of our own official gasoline engines that will save our radial engine capacity for aircraft. M18 Hellcat. Our World War I tank expert. Are you headed over that way?
Yeah, there's a little French cafe if you want to go to requisition some stuff there.
All right, we're gonna, as we said, we're closing up now, but we have a special treat for you. If you have not seen our FT, our brand new edition, our World War I tank in operation. Andrew was headed over that way. He was in a French uniform that he was seen during World War I, and the French were the users, primary users of that Renault FT, that World War I tank. And Adam's and Andrew's great presentation. Go over there and see it right now. He's headed to that vehicle. See it right there. It's got a white stripe on it, right now. That is a replica of an FT17 or an FT, the granddaddy of